Did the sound reach you well? It reached you, doctor. And how did the sound work? Sound, camera, and everything is on. I rushed through it a bit. Thank you very much, doctor, for pointing that out. I will turn off the camera, the video, and everything else because I can't work with everything open. I really appreciate it, doctor. Okay, Dr. Abdul Rahman, I made adjustments after I heard the news. The chat will be the only thing open, and anyone who needs anything can send it through the text chat. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. And I also confirmed that the text chat is the only thing open. The purpose of the questions is just to ensure that you are following along with me and to write only without using a microphone or camera or anything like that. So thank you all very much. I'm glad we clarified these things at the beginning of the session. I want to remind you of something I mention every time, which is the internet issue. If the internet disconnects or something happens, I will be back within 30 seconds, so there's no problem. I will keep you updated because the screen might disconnect on my end if that happens. Send needs via text chat. Questions. Ensure you follow and write only, no mic or camera. Glad we clarified at session start. Reminder, internet issue. If internet disconnects, back in 30 seconds, no problem. We'll update if screen disconnects. In training, might happen once or not. Report sound issues. Watching screen, we'll pause for tech issues. If my end, we'll clarify. Contact tech support via WhatsApp. Well, I thank you all very much. It's good that we clarified these matters at the beginning of the session. I want to emphasize something I mention every time, which is the internet issue. If the internet disconnects or something happens, I will be back within 30 seconds, so there's no problem. I will keep you updated because the screen might disconnect on my end if that happens. In training, this might happen once or not at all. If you hear any sound issues or anything, please let me know. I'm watching the screen, and if there's a technical problem, I will pause and check. If it's from my end, I will clarify that it's from my end, and you can reach out to technical support via WhatsApp to talk to them. When today is the second day of the animation training. Of course, we agreed that our training is just to break the ice, to be clear. We spent 3 hours breaking the ice a bit around animation. If you allow me, I would like to share my screen to show you what we did. We rendered a moving box among other boxes. This might happen once during training or not at all. If you hear any sound issues or anything, please let me know. I'm watching the screen, and if there's a technical problem, I will pause and check. If it's from my end, I will clarify that it's from my end, and you can reach out to technical support via WhatsApp to talk to them. Today is the second day of the training. We agreed that our training is just to break the ice. We spent 3 hours breaking the ice on animation. I'll share my screen to show you what we did. We rendered a moving box among other boxes. I'm running the 3D Max program, and I can also use the open feature to check the render output folder. I have a folder here named car. If I open that folder, you'll see there are some things prepared for it. If you look at the file, I only took 60 frames, so you'll see if I animate this file, it will look like this. A car moving for 60 frames, about 2 seconds. That's really not much time. I'm running the 3D Max program. I have a folder called car. Some things are prepared. I took 60 frames, so animating it looks like a car moving 60 frames, about 2 seconds. It lacks content, but reflections work, and trees are present. I could shake the trees, move them, and make the car turn from the side street. We can do everything because we learned movement with the move tool, moving the box and cylinders forward and rotating like a soccer ball. All of this is possible. There are things ready. I took 60 frames, so you'll see. If I animate this file, it looks like a car moving for 60 frames, about 2 seconds. Not much time, not much in it. The reflections are working, and the trees are there. I could shake and move the trees, and I could turn the car from the side street. We can do everything with the move tool, moving the box, cylinders, and rotating like a soccer ball. All of this is possible. Alright, our render looks like this. Now let's review. The last thing covered was animation. I can show a box or use different tools. There's really nothing in it at all, like the reflections are working and the trees are there. I could have shaken the trees and moved them, and I could have made the car turn from the side street. We can do everything because we learned about movement. With the move tool, when I moved the box and the 4 cylinders forward, and I took the rotation movement, like when you want to rotate a soccer ball. All of this is possible. All right, that's great. This is what our render looks like. Now let's quickly review something. The last thing we covered yesterday was animation. I can show you, for example, a box like this, or I could take a different set of tools and take, for example, the box, which has somewhat beveled edges and corners, looks like this. In this view, this is a box suited for cars. I can use the AutoGrid to create a box, but the direction is wrong. Draw from the right angle. The best projection here is the top view. To create a cabin, it takes a piece and draws over it. The AutoGrid works from the sharp edge. If I decide not to draw this and start drawing, the edge becomes the head of my drawing. I didn't discuss the selection tool last time. I mentioned it in context. The best projection to draw from in a case like this is the top view. It's drawn on its surface, meaning the AutoGrid works, but it took from the sharp edge. If I just select, I didn't talk about the selection tool last time. I mentioned it in context. Selection tools draw the box like this to select something. This is the box I drew last time. The AutoGrid works, but I turned it off. I drew this box and want another on top. So I activate the AutoGrid and come above it. I said I wouldn't draw this, but I started because the drawing seemed to go like this, with a sharp edge becoming the head. I didn't discuss the selection tool last time, only in the work context. If you allow, I'll send a picture of the selection tools area. The selection tools draw a box to select something. This is the box I drew last time. The AutoGrid was on, but I turned it off. I drew this box and want to draw another on top, so I activate the AutoGrid and draw the second box above it. It appears as a piece coming out of the first. This is useful for vehicles, as this is the cabin, and the wheel area will be drawn better. I did this to show the selection area, which starts from here. The selection tools draw a box for selecting items. I drew this box and want to draw another on top, so I activate the AutoGrid and position it above. Then I draw the second box, which appears on top of the first. This is useful for vehicles, as the cabin and wheel areas are better defined. The selection area is above, starting here. You have Select Object and Select by Name on the left. You typically select the whole area to move items on it. If you select part of it, it will be selected. When I draw the second box, it appears on top of the first. This is useful for vehicles, as it represents the cabin. I did this to show the selection area. You have Select Object and Select by Name on the left, and the selection area is here. You want to select the whole area to move things on it. If I intersect with a shape, it selects that shape. If it intersects with both, it selects both. I can move or delete them together. Here you have Select Object and Select by Name, and here is the selection area. You want to select the whole area to move things. I have to select it all. Intersecting selects the shape. Intersecting both selects both. I can move or delete them together. Switching requires selecting the entire shape. I must click directly. A piece won't work. Manage surroundings to select. I want the small one alone. I can get it alone. I can flip it. If I partially intersect with a shape, it selects it, intersects both, selects both. They are defined. Work, move, or delete together. Switching selection button requires full shape selection. Click directly. Partial selection fails. Manage surroundings for selection. Small one inside, select alone. No problem, select alone. Flip it, no issue. Other is unrelated. Taking specific shape to work with. This is the selection area. Selection area defines shapes to move, delete, rotate, scale. Define elements from above or by name. If I want to select a specific shape, I need to control what's around it to define it. This small one inside, I want that one alone. I can get it by itself. I can flip it. The other one has nothing to do with it. I'm taking a specific shape, and that's what I'm working with. This is the selection area called. This selection area is very important because it allows you to define the shapes that you will move, delete, rotate, or scale. You need to define the elements from above or by name. I'm using a specific shape. This is the selection area. This area lets you define shapes to move, delete, rotate, or scale. Define elements from above or by name. Let's revisit the review. I want to adjust the vehicle. Here, I have this box. This is a vehicle piece like a door I can lift. You can place another small box on top from the back or arrange it. By name and type, it's classified here, so you can see this whole area is called the selection area or the defining area, right? It's always located on the right in this area, okay? Now, let's go back to the small review that I wanted to revisit. I want to adjust the vehicle that I was trying to fix. So, I have here, let's say, this box. This is a piece of the vehicle, and I can lift it up like this. Piece of the door, for example. As you said, you can place another box on top of it, just a small piece, and come from the back or some kind of arrangement, for example. Initially, I mean, I'm just looking, but of course I didn't come to the floor plan. To draw on the ground, I can enlarge it. I mean, there's nothing, no one has anything to enlarge it, so the structure of the car is done. But I also don't like that I'm digging inside the shape like this. So AutoCAD is working, and what makes me go outside? Well, I can draw, and its color is yellow. I didn't draw it when it was orange. So when it turns yellow, it means I can draw over it, and that's how it is. I draw over it, but with different colors. I draw underneath. There are two colors. When one lights up, yellow, it means you draw over it. I draw exactly over it, like the cabin. My colleague can try technical things with another tool, boxes with curves. Draw like I did, take the box, create your curve, see if you make a drop or cylinder shape. It works perfectly. You can draw with it. I drew with the previous box. I can select and delete everything to show you can use this box with sharp edges for better results. There are some technical things my colleague can try with the other tool, which is the boxes that have their edges curved. You can draw just like I was drawing a moment ago, and you can take the box and create your curve like this. You can see if you're going to make a drop shape or a cylinder shape, and simultaneously it works perfectly without any issues. You can draw with it, and I drew with the previous box. I can select everything here and delete it, showing you that you can also use this box, which has sharp edges, to give you a better result, especially the car's lights. I can also use the same box, but here the coordinates are what reflect it. You see the coordinates that it gives you. It rotates. You don't have a shape. To draw over this shape, you need to be very precise with it. Will you make a drop shape or a cylinder shape? I can work with it easily. You can draw with it. I drew for you with the previous box, and I can select everything here and delete it to show you this box with sharp edges gives a better result. As for the lights of the car, I can also use the same box. This is the first box, and I can use this same box, but here coordinates reflect it. To draw over this shape, be precise, okay? You'll have to adjust its coordinates. No matter how you draw, it gives this shape. Rotate and adjust it as it is what it is. For the car's lights, I can also use the same box. Of course, this is the first box, and I can use this same box. But here are the coordinates that reflect it. You see the coordinates it gives you. It rotates. But of course, you don't have a shape. So to draw over this shape, you need to be very precise with it, okay? And you'll have to play with its coordinates as well. I mean, no matter how you try to draw, it will give you a shape like this. And you have to rotate it and adjust it because in the end, it is what it is. Okay? And you'll have to play with its coordinates too. I mean, no matter how you try to draw, it will draw it like this. So you have to rotate it and adjust it because in the end, it is what it is. Yeah. To draw on it, it has to be lit up in yellow. It's not lit up in yellow with me right now, but when it is, I can draw over it like this. I can touch it so I can come and draw over it. But of course, since it's uneven, it's originally uneven. So I don't know how to hold a flat surface, and he's just drawing based on what he understands. Here, for example, he's drawing on the flat surface. But when it was the regular box and it had the pointed box on it, it worked fine. There was no problem.